Hey everybody, it's Leigh, and welcome to Grimmleighs Fiends. Today we're looking at day 20, if you can believe it, of Inktober 2021. I personally can't believe it. And we have a couple of ground rules here. Of course, we need to do the video, not the actual video itself, but the drawing portion of the video in 20 minutes or less. So I have set my timer for 20 minutes, or I will lose a whole bunch of points. It's a variable amount of points that I feel like I take from myself. So today, if I don't do this in 20 minutes, I will be losing 150 million points, if you can believe it. The prompt for today is sprout. So let's do a monstrous sprout. The reason why we're doing something monstrous is because that is the other part of the self-imposed challenge that I have made it so that I have to have the drawing prompt monstrous. It has to be a monstrous prompt. It has to be a monstrous product when it's done, or it doesn't count. Because Grimmleighs is a channel about monstrous things. Minutes in. Let's get started with the inking. At first I had thought of doing some sort of like monstrous Brussels sprout, but then I realized that what I had stuck in my head wasn't actually my creation at all. It was some sort of bastardized, lobotomized Bulbasaur. So, being as though I don't believe in either of those things, I thought it would be a good idea to do something else that was sprouted. Some other sort of sprouted monster. So what if we had a creature that had a somewhat sinister looking face that was obviously sprouted? But at the same time had something that made it almost more whimsical than sinister. So then we can end up spending some time guessing what the ulterior motive of this creature would be. And if she comes out anything like I've imagined her, I'm going to be really happy with this. A traditional eye that's part of your formation. It's almost more like she just forced this one out through force of will. Downside, I was talking about how awesome the brush pen is a couple of installments ago. I was trying to think of the negatives, and there are a few negatives that come with it. For one, you can kind of see it here. If you find yourself in a rush, if you find yourself in a hurry, you lose a bit of that fine motor control, and fine motor control is definitely something that the brush pen demands. It insists that you pay attention to the weight and the pressure that you're putting on the pen on the surface, because if you're not careful, your lines are going to flare out on you, and you're going to end up with some fat chunky lines that you didn't intend. And so that hasn't happened too much here. I've actually been able to keep a pretty fair amount of control over the pen, which is good. But I've had some other drawings where the line weight ended up spiraling out of control because I was hurrying too much. Too much of a hurry very rarely leads to good things. It can lead to some awesome accidents, but very rarely does rushed work pay the dividends that you hope for when you set out on a project. cramping something fierce today too, so that could be contributing a little bit to it. Time. We're about 11 minutes in. Again, that 20-minute time limit is not the total time of the video, it's the total time of the illustration itself. So if you see me stressing out about time and the video count says that it's over 20 minutes already, that's not what I'm stressing out about. It's set from the minute I start drawing. It's also wholly self-imposed, as are the points that I deduct from myself at the end. You might ask, where am I getting these points that I'm taking away from myself in the first place? And I give myself points from video watch time. I give myself points from how many people watch each video that I post. I give myself points from each completed project. So, I mean, you got to give yourself some credit for the work that you finish, right? So there's ways that I'm giving myself points, and it's all just silliness. It's a desire to gamify things so that the long-term project doesn't get neglected by me seeing something shiny and going, ooh, I want to go do that shiny thing, instead of drawing Inktober content every single day. So that's really why I do it. It doesn't have any actual overall bearing on anything other than me knowing how my brain works. Let's get her fur coat in. I myself don't like fur. I'm strongly opposed to fur, but I grew up looking at a lot of Edward Gorey books, and he sure put a lot of people in fur coats, and they look awfully cool. So I'm going to assume that a monster made of plants that despises all of the organic animal matter out there on the planet would still probably wear a synthetic fur. Now the rain at my house is coming down pretty hard today. So if you hear a lot of background noise and can't quite make it out, that's just rain. About 15 minutes in, so roughly 5 minutes left. pencil lines off there. And it's just a few minutes left. There we go. Inktober, day 19 for 2021. We have a prompt of Sprout. And so I drew, well, I guess this prompt will work for Sprout or for Bloom, but we have a shady looking character. She has a sprout for a head, which she has used to sprout daisies. At least that's my take on her. If you like what we're doing here on Grimmleighs, make sure to give the channel a scary, spooky like. And while you're at it, you can let us haunt you forever by subscribing to the channel. There is, of course, a dedicated Inktober 2021 playlist, which you can check out the previous 19 entries to this year's challenge. And I appreciate you all for tuning in today. The best is yet to come.